Fat boy, come on. You know we had to do a podcast, right?
What's your name, fat buddy?
Of course, you're looking food. What the hell?
I'm not fat. I'm big bone.
I'm gonna eat it.
You owe me for one jelly donut!
Fat motherfucker.
Listen to it. My wife said no one's gonna listen to us.
I've got bigger titties than you did!
Bullshit, because nobody fucking had geese back at that point for a bigger guy.
I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but I might be somebody's shot of whiskey.
You can't think about, hey, I need to lose 100 pounds, but think about winning that day.
Fucking, I want a cheeseburger and a milkshake. Yo, what's up, fat leets, and welcome to episode 44 of the Fat Boy Jiu-Jitsu podcast. How y'all doing? I'd like to thank everybody, everybody who's liked, shared, and given me feedback on the podcast. Thank you. Feedback is a gift. Sometimes it's not a gift you want, but it is a gift. So thank you very much. And big congratulations to you Pats fans. I guess y'all are happy. I will say one thing. I don't like how now that they've won 6 championships and they're kind of putting them higher than Pittsburgh, who's also won 6. And I understand they're the new kids on the block, but and I don't follow it enough to know what cheating was being called, so I don't, guys, it over my head. I'm not I'm a fan of my city, I'm a fan of my teams, but yeah, that's about as far as it goes. So recently, and obviously, I knew this was. I felt like this was going to come because, the new year, everybody wants to start something new. They want to try something new, and obviously, with the success I've had with Keto, many people were reaching out and wanting to know how I eat, and how I survive keto, especially coming from, the standard American diet. And one thing I want to point out is I've now been keto, cheat day free. It's been 500 days. 500 days of practically strict keto. So that's what I eat now is completely different than when I started. And I started thinking about this. Specifically with the keto fathead pizza. The keto fathead pizza, when I first started keto, it was the craziest thing. And then buying all that much almond flour, it was crazy. But it was what helped me through. And I had made one. I didn't find the fathead pizza for like 2 months. Or was it 2 weeks? Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember quite. But I do remember that I had a cauliflower pizza that I made, and that thing was terrible. And I knew if that's what I was going to be forced to eat, like that was really going to be my downfall. So my trick was, look, who doesn't like pizza, right? I love pizza. And I said, if I can make this pizza work, and I like it, I knew I can do it stretch it out multiple times. And at the very beginning, I would have a fathead pizza 3, sometimes even 4 times a week, solely because I knew I can eat that and stay basically keto. And you know, I'd have to change the macros the days of, but I can do it and stay keto. So I was like, let me try it. And that's what really helped me the best. Now there was a couple things that I wish I had done differently. So everybody wants to tell you about like the foods to eat, and while they're great and great substitutes, I think we can lose ourselves in trying to eat, trick our brains to eat that same way that we are eating and say, oh, well, you know, now it's just healthy. And it's the whole point of it is to kind of change the way you're eating completely. And I mean specifically for someone who was in my position where you're not just overweight, you're morbidly obese. And I could only speak to that because that's obviously where my experience comes from. So I knew that it had to be, I had to change, right? So as I'm saying, you know, pick something that you like and kind of stick with it. That's going to help you. The whole point eventually is you'll get away from having to use these crutches, and you'll be eating a hell of a lot cleaner in the long run. And that's kind of where I'm at now, where it's like, now I eat more ground beef, eggs, avocados, sprinkle some macadamia nuts here and there. I guess, you know, I still do my butter coffee. I do the pizza once in a while. So I still eat, my sister's been doing some spaghetti squash. That's really great. But everything keto, and it's a lot cleaner now than when, I guess, and I don't want to say it's dirty keto, but it was just kind of mimicking a lot of other foods. So when I first started, like I said, did those 4 pizzas, but I also was I started intermittent fasting the same day I was going to start keto. I figured if I'm going to suffer, I might as well suffer all at once. And I pretty much now being in ketosis so long, I realize that intermittent fasting is so much easier when you do keto. And I knew that fasting was a faster way to get into ketosis, to originally start getting ketosis. So I figured I would try to jumpstart, which it did, and I started seeing results rather quickly. So the absence of real hunger compared to normal diets or normal times I would diet, with the results kind of kept me focused. But here are some of the things I wish I wouldn't have done so much. When I first started keto, I had already started drinking the bulletproof coffees, but I started adding a little more of the coconut oil, and I really wasn't aware of the effects that would start to have. And I think when you're first originally starting, man, I don't know, like, I really enjoy the butter coffee, and I think it helped, but I don't know if it was the best thing, because of what it was originally doing to my stomach. And that in itself, the constant stomach issues while transitioning to keto, I can see where that would push somebody to not want to do it anymore. So you have to be very, very salt heavy. You have to take supplements, salt supplements at least, salt, magnesium, potassium, tons of water, and even if you're taking salt supplements, salt your food. You know, put a pinch of salt in water. And the other thing that's very, very dangerous when you start keto, and it took me a while, is working out too soon. So I officially started keto June 28th of 2017. In September, we were in Orlando because of Hurricane Irma. So that was basically 2 months right after. So I had thought I had enough time doing keto that I can start working out. And I went to one of my boy, Mitchell was teaching a class at TAN, and back then I was living in Fort Myers. So I was here visiting because of I was displaced. I was displaced because of the hurricane. And even while displaced, you gotta go train jiu-jitsu. Well, I go to class, and the warm-up killed me. I was just dead. I barely made half the warm-up. And I remember the feeling of practically passing out. I drank some water, and I did the incredibly stupid thing of driving home. And I made some eggs, and while I made some eggs, I was laying on the kitchen floor. And I realized then that I had not been fat adapted, and it took me way longer. That happened that one time, and I think it happened twice more. And it was, each time I tried to ramp it up a little more, and it was, they were tough. And that's another thing I can see where it's easy to grab. The sure thing would be to grab something that would definitely throw you out of ketosis. Probably some sugary protein shake or whatever, and I really wasn't trying to do that, so I kind of stupidly toughed it out. But I wish I would have known that was possible before, because I would have been able to better plan for it. I think eventually that's when I linked up with Perfect Keto, and I should say, I'm an ambassador for them, but I started using a little bit of their ketone, their BHB salt, as a pre-workout in a coffee before class, and that seemed to work. And I only did that for a little bit of time, and it's now I can go train Saturday morning and teach the kids class, do an adult class, all fasted, do 100 burpees, come home, take a shower, and then eat, and be perfectly fine. And this is something that I've obviously had to build to, and this is definitely an awesome benefit of I don't know 100% if it's just the intermittent fasting, or and along with the ketones. But it's definitely, I feel amazing, and I don't feel like I have to eat, and I don't feel dead tired either. Nor do I have that low sugar drop. So while I know, you're first starting keto and you're like, man, I'm gonna start this diet and I'm gonna start going to the gym. I'm gonna change my life, and absolutely sometimes the best is to do all the change at once. With keto, with trying to go keto, I think the working out, you really need to, especially if you're used to high intensity workout, you're definitely gonna see a noticeable difference in performance, and to the point where you can hurt yourself. I know those blood sugar drops aren't necessarily good for you, so that's working out with in keto. I really think that's when you're first starting, especially. I think you have to be very, very cautious. And like I said, even myself, that was almost 8 weeks out, and it still happened to me. So it's not there are some people who get fat adapted in 30 days. And there are some people that, like myself, I think it took me closer to 3 months. Now, the other thing about when people go keto is that everybody they know now wants to give them diet advice about how terrible keto is. And they want to give you what's a lot of false information, and they want to use scare tactics, but they don't care when you're eating shitty food. It's only when you're doing keto, really. And everybody who I've noticed that gets a lot of hate when doing keto, you kind of have to develop thick skin, or just don't tell anybody. It sucks. Because I know it's one of those things, and eventually people start realizing, oh, you're not eating this, you're not eating that. My thing was when I first started keto, and I still a lot of times don't even want to talk to people, tell people I'm doing keto. I just tell them I'm fasting. We'll go out somewhere. Oh, I'm gonna fast. I'm fasting, and if I say I'm within a fasting window, most everybody is, oh shit, okay. So. You have to do your own research. I can give you the research, tell you the research that I've read or heard. Don't take it from me. Read it yourselves. Listen. Learn about it. Learn about the science. And I think when you really devote the time to do it, that's when it clicks, and that's when it clicked for me. I feel that 100% was when I would always ask friends, and I would be the asshole, right? Hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? Tell me this, tell me that. Give me the information. I had one coach once, and actually someone, now that I remember, it was Cutman Matt said the same thing. He said, he asked someone for their macros or for their BMR, and they wouldn't give it to him. Well, it took me a couple days, and I eventually realized that the coach wasn't going to do it, so I did it. And it worked. Like I said, it worked for a while, but that just shows, like, you have to do the work. Like, you have to do the work. That's one thing. These burpees are teaching me, man. It's just work. It's work, and you can. once they're done, they're done. Once it's done, the work is done. It's not a problem. Yeah, you got to do them tomorrow, but just tackle it day by day, and you will get through. Keto is I don't think that keto is for everybody. I think you should, if you're in a position like I was in a position, you should definitely try it. And by trying it, I mean 6 months, hardcore. Like, and then 6 months. You know what? After 6 months, if you want to cheat, you want to go at it. I guarantee the feeling, the crappy way you feel, I just know most people would get back on. There's no better feeling. I haven't experienced so far, and at least eating wise, it's been great. So once again, my success came from picking a food that I was going to be okay with eating multiple times a week, that fit the macros, that I was going to be okay with. And you have to think about preparation too. When I first started, it took a lot longer than now. I can whip one up in just about 20 minutes with the at least into the oven, and then whatever other time it takes me from there. But I can, before it used to take me almost 45 minutes to make the dough and everything. And now I've cut that time down tremendously. And it's just, it gets easier. So picking a food that you're going to be able to be okay with eating multiple times, or, and I know it sucks if you're not one of those people who can eat multiple food or the same food multiple times. So, looking for the recipes, you're gonna have to plan it out. And if it's Sundays cooking for the week, you might have to do that. But so, the food, important. Pick a food that you're gonna like. You're gonna eat, a staple in your diet, right? 2, don't rush to work out. As much as you want to change your life, I know it's hard to want to take a step back to jump too forward, but that's kind of what you have to do. And then you got to make sure your water and salt intake is there, and that's how I think you can really be successful starting keto. I've been fighting this cold, and I just want to get better. So that's going to be the podcast for this week. If you have any more questions, shoot them at me. Thank you for the feedback. Continue to share the podcast. Thank you very much. Love you guys. Peace.